Hello, this is Lance Cayley. For my term project for this class, I've chosen to examine records from 3 digital collections that use the VRA Core metadata scheme. The collections I've chosen to examine for the project are the A.D. White Architectural Photographs Collection from Cornell University, the RISD Public Collection from the Rhode Island School of Design, and the Jane Hawks collection from the York Digital Library at the University of York. I found these collections listed on the VRA Core's implementation registry page. For the Controlled Vocabularies project, I first made a table listing the digital collections I intended to examine, as well as the controlled vocabulary schemes that I guessed the collection's metadata creators most likely used when building their metadata records. Those controlled vocabularies included the following ones from the Getty: the Art and Architecture Thesaurus, or AAT, the Getty Thesaurus of Geographic Names, or TGN, and the Union List of Artist Names, or ULAN. Another controlled vocabulary scheme I referenced was the Thesaurus for Graphic Materials, or TGM, from the Library of Congress. In addition, I made use of the Library of Congress's authority heading search engine to look for some terms that I still had questions about after first consulting the aforementioned controlled vocabularies. The first record I examined was one from the A.D. White Architectural Photographs collection and has the title of Box Seats Auditorium Theater. I examined the different attributes of the elements listed in the record and cross-checked them with the controlled vocabularies that I mentioned before in order to try to determine which vocabularies the terms had been drawn from, or whether they were locally created or user-created terms. What I found was that it appears that the metadata creator referred to all of the above-mentioned controlled vocabularies when describing the object and often modified preferred terms, apparently to meet local requirements or maybe for the sake of consistency throughout the record. For the most part, the differences between the local terms and the preferred ones were slight and included such differences as using singular terms rather than plural ones, or capitalizing the first letter of a compound term according to the Library of Congress's TGM style, or even when the term appears to have been drawn from the Getty's AAT, which for the most part does not capitalize the first letters of compound terms. The description of geographic information that appeared in the local record also seemed to be a simplification of the information listed in the AAT. And here is a graphical breakdown of the attributes of the record, and of which controlled vocabularies I believe the terms were drawn from, and similarities and differences between the two. The record makes use of terms drawn from sources such as the City of Chicago's official website and the Encyclopedia Britannica. It does not appear to make use of user-generated terms, and there are no tagging features visible on the site. In addition, the collection's overview does not include an explanation of either the VRA Core or of the controlled vocabularies from which the terms were drawn. The second record I examined was from the RISD Public Collection. Fewer VRA Core elements are listed in this record than in the record from the A.D. White collection. And for this record, I went through the same process of examining element attributes and checking the different controlled vocabularies to see whether terms had been drawn from them or not. The results of my search were pretty much the same as for the first record. It appeared that controlled vocabularies had been consulted for term selection for the record, but that slight modifications had been made by the record creator for reasons unknown to me. For this particular object record, none of the terms exactly match the preferred terms from any of the controlled vocabularies. And again, here is a graphical breakdown of the attributes of the record and a comparison of the locally chosen terms and the preferred terms from the controlled vocabularies. This record, too, appears not to include user-generated terms, and no tagging features are visible on the website. The collection's overview does not include an explanation of either the VRA Core or of the controlled vocabularies from which the terms were drawn. The third and final record I looked at was one from the Jane Hawks collection. More VRA core elements are listed in this record than in the one from the RISD public collection. Again, I followed the same process of checking terms used for element attributes against terms available in the controlled vocabularies. And again, I found that controlled vocabularies seem to have been consulted for terms in the metadata record, but that terms don't always match the preferred terms listed in the controlled vocabularies, and that local modifications appear to have been made to terms. For this record, the ULAN's preferred style of inverting artist names, with the family name coming first and the given names following, has been strictly followed. Like the first two collections, the collection's overview offers no explanation of either the VRA core or of the controlled vocabularies from which the terms were drawn, nor does it offer social tagging features or appear to use user-generated terms. In summary, I wish the different collections had offered users an explanation of their decisions to use the VRA core and how strictly they adhere to it in general, and which controlled vocabularies they consult in the record creation process and why. Thanks.